Hi, welcome to the Pat Garage. I'm your host, David. Please excuse the mess. There's a lot going on in here. On today's episode, I'm going to be restoring this old pocket knife I found on a bicycle ride. It's an old timer, and it's kind of rusted up. Needs a little bit of help. And I'll see if I can't get it back into good-looking working condition so that either I can carry it or I can pass it on to somebody else for them to enjoy. So give me a minute to get set up and we'll get started. So when I get set up here, got my vise on the bench, and a trick that I found when you're short on space is take a piece of wood, screw a piece of 2x4 onto it, clamp it in the vise. Now I got a nice working platform. There's my knife, a couple tools. We're gonna get some WD-40 in a squirt can and a wire brush to start off with. So let's check this out. So one blade, rusty but not broken. Blade number 2, that might be a clip point blade. That looks all right. Again, rusty. And our main blade, Schrade USA. Looks to be in good shape. All the blades open up. All right, good spring detents on them, so they kind of snap into position. This shouldn't be too bad. Let's a little WD-40 on here. Use my hands to start. Feels like it might have a little bit of an edge to it. All right. This one. Work that in a little bit, and then on the inside. Liberal application of WD-40. Hopefully it'll displace some of the moisture that's inside of this thing. As I mentioned, we're went through a period of a drought here, and the last few days it's been pouring down rain, and I just had a good opportunity this morning to get out for a bike ride. Went out this morning between 9 and 11 and had a good ride, and it's not even 12 o'clock and it's already starting to rain here. It's raining at 7 this morning, and it's raining again at noon. It's supposed to pick up throughout the day. So anyways, doesn't look too bad. Let me get a rag and we'll wipe this off. I'm sure there's one laying around here somewhere. Pause for dramatic effect. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad. And of course, handling a knife like this, you want to be careful not to cut yourself. I've been working with knives for 50 years now. Sliced myself a number of times. Even had stitches once from a little handsaw blade. It got away from me, but all the fingers are still intact. Let's see how the outside of this looks. Looked a little rough when I scooped it up off the road. Honestly, it doesn't look like it's been run over. Maybe just a few little scuff marks in here, but overall not too bad. Backside here, it was, like I said, it was laying basically like that, blade side up. So the springs here have got some corrosion where they were probably sitting in water for a while. So I'll have to polish that up a little bit. But other than that, it doesn't look too bad. Let me reach over here and grab a piece of sandpaper, a piece of used sandpaper. We'll start off with something like a small piece of worn 400 grit, and I like to put a little WD-40 on it, kind of help float the stuff away. Makes the cut a little less aggressive. polish up nicely. Let's go back to the blades one by one and clean them up with more WD-40 on. Picked up these couple of these old cans, Oilers in an estate sale, or a couple of estate sales and garage sales, and found out it's a lot nicer working in the garage to have them. This particular one I color coded it, painted it blue to kind of match the WD-40 can. I wanted to put a logo on it. You know, a lot of projects in the garage, so haven't got around to it. But I know the blue one's my WD-40, matches the majority of the WD-40 can. Then you can buy the WD-40 in bulk refills and fill the can up and just get a drop here, drop here. It's easy to aim it, goes where you want it to. And if you need a bunch, you can, you know, sit there and squirt it out, and you're not, you have a little aerosol, which the wife doesn't like the smell of. So primary blade, looking good. Not going to shave hairs or anything, but at least it's in decent shape. I don't know how well this is coming out on the camera, but somebody tried to keep it sharp, and it looks a little bit rough, but we'll see what we can do with that. Sharpening stone. Next blade. Let's give it a little WD-40 and sandpaper, and I'm just trying to get the rust off it. You can see as I'm sanding it, the blade's turning a rusty color. So I know there's some, you know, still some rust on it. I don't want to. These are high carbon steel blades, not stainless steel, so they do rust, and they're not coated with anything from the factory, so you kind of got to keep them clean and lightly oiled, or clean and dry, so that they don't develop a rust. So when they get to this, you know, this kind of shape where I can actually feel, as I'm sanding with this probably 400 grit sandpaper, I can actually feel out on the end where it's rusty and it's kind of rough, so I can tell it's got still got some rust in there, but we'll clean and see what we got. All right, doesn't look too bad. Both sides pretty good, and the edge, not terrible. I can work with that. Certainly not chewed up. All right, last little blade. Like I said, I think it's a clip point. I'll hit it. Back side of it. That cleaned up. Scuff that on the edge so it'll look decent here. And maybe a little bit more to clean up there. Let's see, what do we have a model number? Main blade, I guess. Schrade USA 340T. That'll come out on the camera all right. We'll see. And as I mentioned, the classic old timer. All right. Next thing, I need to get a small tool. See if I can clean out some of the gunk that's on the inside here. We got some rust down in here. Yeah. I'm just taking this punch and just about the width of the blade and running it down inside there. Just switch to a flat blade screwdriver. There we go. Kind of break loose some of that rust that's been living down in there. Let's get a clean towel underneath it. Yeah, so we got a little bit of rust down in here, but it's, you know, not terrible. See, this has got brass plates on it here, so they shouldn't rust. It's just the spring guides, brass center guide, spring. Good. All right, I'm gonna pause for a couple minutes and switch to the next mode, next cleaning mode. All right, so welcome back. I've zoomed up a little bit so we can better see what's going on, and got the knife here. It's looking pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and hit it one more time with a little bit of 400 in oil, and then some 1500, and I make it a habit of when I tear a small piece off of sandpaper, write on there in permanent marker what the grit is, because you don't always capture it like this piece. I happen to know this particular logo is the 400 grit, but there's nowhere on here where it says what it is. So yeah, helpful hint. If you tear off a piece, take a permanent marker and write yourself a note for future reference, and you'll be able to tell what that piece of sandpaper is, even if you don't have the particular part of the sandpaper that's got the label on it. You'll know what grit it is. So I'll go ahead and hit these some more, get those black spots off of them. Nice thing about my temporary workbench here is it's just a piece of leftover MDF, so if it gets all oily or it gets nasty, every once in a while I'll scrape it off and clean it off, or I'll sand it, or I'll just replace it. The other scrap I've got in the garage. Could use plywood also, but I had a bunch of MDF I was going to make cabinet doors out of, and then the project took a different direction, so cabinet door shaped pieces of MDF that weren't doing anything except for taking up room. Let's try with the 1500 and see if we can get a nice slick surface. Close this other blade up in a second. Oops. Careful to hold the sandpaper in such a way that I'm not going to slice through it and get my finger. It's actually a little bit safer like this. So that's a fairly decent looking blade for one that came off the side of the road an hour and a half ago. Couple swipes on the sharpening stone, and yeah, see that or not, but good old arm hair coming off, so she's a shaver. I'll repeat that same process for the other two blades. Get a little closer here to the pivot point and get that cleaned up. That's the blade. Yeah, this one, like I said, is, it's a nice shape. Doesn't look like somebody tried to sharpen it on just some rock, brick. So the edges look fairly clean. They didn't file them. They didn't try and sharpen it with a bench grinder. Never do that. That's terrible for a knife. Not only will you probably not get a good edge, you'll take a chance of ruining the hardness of the blade. Mess up the temper on it by getting it overheated on the bench grinder. So I like to do it the old-fashioned way. Hand sand, good clean whetstone. That feels good. The 1500. If the blade was in worse shape, I might have to go start with something coarser, 220 or 320. Bring it back and then work my way up through the grits if I wanted a nice slick surface. I'm taking kind of a big jump from 400 to 1500, but these blades are in pretty good shape, so. Still a little bit of darkness in there, but I can live with that. When I'm sharpening, I pretend like I'm carving a little slice of the stone off. Yeah, that'll do. And then our big blade. Best for last. There we go. Finer grit. See if I can get the tip a little better holding it up. Oh yeah, I'm not biting down into the work surface. This wrench is a sad little road find from one of my bike rides. Polish up the logo a little bit. There she goes. Looking good. The back side, maybe a little bit of oil and 1500 on it. Well, with it cleaned up, it's a nice looking knife. I think any gentleman would be proud to carry that around in his pocket. So anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. This is my first time recording a video for YouTube, and figured I'd try it out, see how it goes. So enjoy it, and hopefully we'll have more videos in the future. Thank you.